everyone, I've got another Bellarific Friday card for you guys. This week's challenge was a sketch challenge, which I will have posted on my blog post, but just a really simple square card. So I decided to use my Stamping Bella Uptown Girl Prairie on her laptop. And of course, as soon as I started looking at it, I was like, I am so gonna paper piece this chair. It needs to be patterned, it'll be so much fun. So when I started thinking about it, I'm like, no matter what, to paper piece an image like this and such a large area, there's going to be a fair bit of fussy cutting. So my thinking is I stamped the main image on that first square of cardstock, and then I re-stamped it again on some Copic quality 80-pound cardstock, just the center here, just so I have my little Uptown Girl, and I'm going to color her and then fussy cut her out. No matter what, I would have to cut either around the image if I wanted to paper piece the chair, or I would have to cut her out. So I decided in the end it would look better if I did this separately and cut her out, and you'll see what I mean in a couple minutes. But stamped her with black licorice hybrid ink from MFT, and then started with the skin. As always, I did just E21, E13, and R20. And then for her hair, I'm using E07, E09, and E18 to give her kind of a reddish brown hair. I was going to do blonde, but the pattern paper I had already picked out to use for the chair has a fair bit of yellow in it. Again, you'll see that in a minute. And I didn't want her hair to just kind of meld into the pattern, so I wanted to kind of stand out a bit more. So I did those colors, and I really like them. So did that, and then all the colors I'm choosing, I always choose kind of to coordinate with the pattern paper. So I decided to color her outfit using some reds that, again, it matches the collection, and it also makes her pop out a bit because the pattern paper I'm going to use for the chair has it's more just blues and yellows. There is no red in it. So I wanted her to really stand out. So colored her little outfit and her shoes and her shirt. Not being super careful. That was the fun thing about this is especially with reds, because reds like to go outside the lines anyway. They can be a pain to color with. So yeah, this was kind of nice to just let it go outside the lines because I'm trimming this out anyway. So colored that, colored her little pear laptop. I got a kick out of that. I just thought that was cute, having the little pear logo instead. And yeah, the fussy cutting isn't too bad for this image. It's harder to do it on camera. I have to kind of lean over, and then trying to see where I'm cutting and staying on camera is not fun. So I always turn the camera off, hold it right in front of my face, and just trim. So detail cutting scissors are a must. I love my little Cutter Bee paper snips. They're amazing. And then I used my little Tim Holtz craft knife to cut out that little area between her neck and her little pigtail. And then I took just a black marker to edge all around the cut edge of the image. It just finishes it off and it makes it look better. So you don't have any little white bits peeking out if you didn't trim it perfectly. That really makes a huge difference. So I did that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the image again. I'm going to ink it up, stamp it onto this pattern paper that I chose. This is the Basic Gray Spice Market pack. And yeah, this, just looking at this pattern, I'm like, I could totally see a chair made out of this. I would love a chair made out of this. I think it would be so much fun. So same idea. I'm going to trim it out. I am not trimming out all that frilly little edge around the chair. That would take me forever. Everything else I want simple. I don't mind fussy cutting the main image, but I'm not going to sit and cut frills out for the next 2 hours. So just cut it all off because you can just work around that. And then this is where it was easier to add all the shading and everything because I know I'm adhering the image over it. And again, don't have to worry about going across any lines or anything. I can just scribble on. I use W3 and W1 Copics to add some more depth and dimension. And then that little bit of frilly edge there in the middle, I'm just going to color it. I'm not going to cut any of that out. Again, that's just ridiculous. So I just use my B97 and 99. And then I started coloring the legs of the chair, but then realized, no, I want to add the shading under it first because it's just, again, going to be quick and easy. So I enjoyed this, just being able to just scribble and not have to be precise and worry about going in or outside of lines. So I used my W00, W1, and W3 Copic markers again to create all of the shadows and shading under the chair, and then W1 and W00 for just around the chair a bit. And then for this little frilly edge, I just scribbled. Just the style of these stamps, I've said it multiple times. You can be a lot more freer with them, just the way they're drawn. You know, if you want to be super picky and careful, you can be. But I find I'm more happy with it if I'm a little looser with it and just go with it. So colored it, scribbled it, and in the end it looks just fine. So I did the same thing with the paper pieced chair. I edged it with a black marker just to cover up any little white bits of the paper. And then I'm going to apply my Tombow Mono Multi, and always, you never want to apply too much glue because you do not want it oozing out the sides and making a big mess. And then you can just see it starting to come together now, and this is always the best part. So got that adhered. And then same thing, dab on some glue onto this main little person here and just making sure that there's no big globs to ooze out. And yeah, you can see what I was going for. Like, I wanted her to just pop. So the red little outfit and everything, I was so happy with how this was turning out. So once I was done and the glue was dry, which only took a couple minutes, I matted that onto a piece of navy cardstock. And I'm making this into a big card because it was like a square card sketch, and this is a rather large image. This is going to be a 5.5-inch square card. So I grabbed another piece of pattern paper from the same pack that had more of the reds and everything with it. Like, it all coordinates, obviously, but I wanted one that had a little more of the reds just to tie in with her outfit. And then just added this other strip of pattern paper, and then I had this ribbon in my stash that was really like a good match to the red in the pattern papers. So I grabbed that out and taped a piece around the card front, and then just took a second piece and tied it in a bow. That way the bow is kind of more sideways. It just works better with an image like this. And I was going to keep everything completely flat, but then decided I'd pop the main image up with some foam tape just for that little extra bit of something. And it just adheres nicer over. This is a little bit thicker ribbon, but not majorly. And then yeah, like I said, it's a 5.5-inch square card, so I just cut down a piece of cardstock to 11 inches by 5.5, scored it at 5.5, so that it's a top folding card, and adhered that to the front. And then for the inside, I just grabbed this pattern paper from the same pack. This was about one of the only patterns that was not so busy or not so dark that you could write on it with a ballpoint pen, you know, write your message to the recipient, and it's not going to, you know, fade into the paper and you're not going to be able to see it. So I used that, and then the sentiment comes with this little stamp. So I stamped that with my stamp positioner, and then just took these two little scraps of pattern paper left over from the front just to kind of tie it all in together, and cut little flag ends with my scissors and adhered them kind of below the sentiment to kind of feature the sentiment a little bit more, but not take up too much of the inside because you want space to be able to write something. And then add a little more adhesive and pop that onto the inside of the card, and that's all there was to it. So there will be links below the video to my blog post with all the links to the supplies used and all that fun stuff, so check out the info box below. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!